Get the supporting cast. You got Mahershala Ali as Detective Brandt, bringing gravitas and quiet wisdom to every scene. Julianne Moore plays Evelyn's mother, a role that might be small in terms of screen time, but in her hands, it carries the entire weight of generational grief and hope. There's even a brief but unforgettable appearance by Dev Patel as a mysterious neighbor. His scenes spark with tension, and he leaves a lasting impression, even with just a handful of lines. And what's a great film without an incredible script? The screenplay, written by Tom Linwood, is a masterclass in subtlety. Every line, every pause, is loaded with meaning. It's not just what the characters say, but what they leave unsaid. The silent pain, the longing glances, the unfinished sentences that say more than words ever could. Linwood, who previously wrote the acclaimed Echoes in Winter, knows exactly when to pull back and when to hit you in the gut. But Bring Her Back isn't just about powerhouse acting or elegant writing. This is a film that looks and feels expensive, and it is, with a production budget of $68 million. The filmmakers had the freedom to shoot on location in some truly breathtaking places. Much of the film is set against the windswept coast of Maine, where the gray skies and wild surf become almost characters in their own right. Cinematographer Roger Deakins, yes, the Roger Deakins, who's brought us the unforgettable visuals of 1917 and Blade Runner 2049, paints each scene with such moody, luminous intensity that you find yourself lost in the textures of rain on glass, headlights cutting through fog, the cold blue dawn after a sleepless night. Deakins and McAllister, working in tandem, create an atmosphere that at once dreamlike and terrifyingly real. The camera never flinches away from pain, but also finds moments of unexpected beauty. A mother's trembling smile, the way sunlight falls through autumn leaves, the shimmering reflection of lost hopes in a window pane. It's the kind of cinematography that doesn't just show you the story, it makes you feel it in your bones. And then there's the score. If you've ever been swept up by the music in a film, you know how important it is. And here, the legendary Thomas Newman is at the helm. Newman's score for Bring Her Back is gentle and piercing, weaving delicate piano with trembling strings, and in moments of heartbreak, letting silence do all the talking. I found myself humming the main theme days later. That's how deeply it gets under your skin. Now, let's talk about the journey to get this film made, because it wasn't easy. The script first made the rounds in Hollywood 5 years ago, earning a spot on the Blacklist, the annual ranking of the most promising unproduced screenplays. Studios were nervous. A story about a missing child is always a gamble. Would audiences be willing to sit with that kind of pain? Would it feel too heavy? But Grace McAllister saw something others didn't. She saw the hope at the heart of the darkness. She fought for creative control, turning down 2 big studios before partnering with A24 and Plan B Entertainment, both known for taking bold risks on films that go on to change the industry. Shooting was a logistical challenge. The weather on the Maine coast is famously unpredictable. More than once, the production had to scramble as storms rolled in, flooding sets and shutting down roads. But the cast and crew bonded through the adversity, and those wild, windswept storms actually became a key part of the film's atmosphere. In fact, some of the movie's most iconic shots, the ones you've probably seen in the trailers, with Evelyn standing on the cliff edge, hair whipping in the wind, were filmed in the aftermath of a real nor'easter, with the crew literally clinging to their equipment as 60-mile-an-hour gusts threatened to sweep everything away. Behind the scenes, the mood was intense but supportive. Jessica Chastain reportedly stayed in character for weeks, isolated herself to tap into Evelyn's loneliness. Jake Gyllenhaal, meanwhile, became the unofficial morale officer, organizing cast dinners and even leading impromptu karaoke nights in a local pub after grueling 14-hour days. There are stories of Lila Monroe, just 13 at the time, sitting with Roger Deakins between takes, learning about light and composition, and then practicing her own shots with a Polaroid camera. That collaborative, family-like spirit bleeds into every frame. And talk about ambition. Bring Her Back premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival to a 10-minute standing ovation. Critics were floored. They called it the emotional gut punch of the decade, a modern classic in the making, and a film that refuses to let you look away. The early awards buzz was deafening, and it delivered. At the Oscars, it swept through nominations for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Cinematography, and Best Original Score. Chastain took home the gold for a role, and Roger Deakins added yet another trophy to his collection. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. There was a minor controversy when a leaked scene appeared online just before the theatrical release. Fans speculated endlessly about whether it revealed the film's twist ending. Was Ruby really missing or had she run away? But the studio handled it with grace, neither confirming nor denying any details. Instead, the marketing team leaned into the mystery, crafting a campaign that centered on the question, what would you do to bring her back? The hashtag Bring Her Back trended for weeks as viewers shared their own stories of loss and hope. At the box office, Bring Her Back was a phenomenon. Despite its somber themes, audiences came out in droves, drawn by the promise of an emotional journey and the word-of-mouth buzz. The film grossed over $415 million worldwide, shattering expectations for an adult drama. It was a rare thing, a movie that inspired both critical raves and sold-out theaters. People weren't just watching it, they were experiencing it, and then returning for repeat viewings, bringing friends and family to share the impact. But beyond the numbers and the awards, what really sets Bring Her Back apart is its honesty. It's not afraid to linger in the darkness, to show us grief in all its messy, complicated forms. Yet it's never just about pain. At its heart, the film is a meditation on hope, on the things we hold on to even when everything else slips away. There's a moment in the third act, no spoilers, I promise, when Evelyn makes a choice that is so unexpected, so brave, you can feel the entire audience collectively hold their breath. It's in that moment you realize, this isn't just a story about a missing child. It's about all of us, about the ways we fight for people we love, about what we're willing to risk and what we have to let go. Let's also talk about impact, because Bring Her Back is more than just a movie. It's become a cultural touchstone. Counselors and therapists have reported that people come in wanting to talk about the film, using it as a way to process their own losses and fears. Support groups have organized special screenings, using the movie as a springboard for difficult but necessary conversations about grief and healing. Educators have praised a nuanced depiction of trauma, and the National Alliance on Mental Illness even partnered with the filmmakers to create a series of resources for families dealing with similar struggles. Even the industry has felt the aftershocks. After the success of Bring Her Back, studios have greenlit more projects led by women, more films that tackle hard subjects with empathy and artistry. It's a reminder that audiences are hungry for stories that challenge and move them, that there's room, even in a world of sequels and superheroes, for cinema that aims straight for the heart. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are lots of films about missing children, fractured families, desperate searches. What makes this one different? Why does it rise above the rest? The answer is simple. Bring Her Back never settles for the easy answer. It resists the temptation to turn tragedy into spectacle, to tie everything up in a neat bow. Instead, it honors the complexity of real